Hello, we're going to give a quick review. We hope it'll be quick. We'll try to be concise of our experience at the Flower and Garden Festival. Here's our passport. We were lucky enough to get to go the first week of the festival, and so we're hoping this will be helpful to some of you who are heading to Flower and Garden this year in 2017. So we're going to start first talking about our general impressions of the festival this year.
Crowd levels. The crowd
really crowded.
But maybe it's because it was first week.
Yeah, it could have
We've
been.
never been there the first week of the festival.
We haven't, and we've never seen lines like that at the food booth.
It's not like 20-minute lines, but it's just we're not used to seeing lines.
Any lines. Lines at all.
Booths.
And the crowd level at the parks overall didn't seem too bad, just moderate. So it did seem like there were a lot of people just there for Flower and Garden. The flowers were gorgeous this year. They're gorgeous every year. That's not new, but this year was definitely not a disappointment. They actually made improvements to the Beauty and the Beast topiary, which I think was due to the new live action movie coming out. They had a lot of return favorites like Bambi and Winnie the Pooh. And then, of course, just the beautiful, vibrant flowers that are up by the lakes near the monorail. Really beautiful. I always enjoy that.
Butterfly Gardens.
Oh yeah, awesome. Yeah. The butterflies on the go. The tent.
I don't know what it's called. It's the butterfly tent.
With the live butterflies,
yeah,
it was really nice. Yeah. We did that like 3 times, I think,
so.
Because we really enjoyed it. Every time we were in the area, we would just go through it again. So we really enjoyed that. The festival center. I don't know, this year I felt like we were just in and out.
Well, for Flower and Garden, it's never really a big deal there.
Yeah.
Well, especially since they only have it open on the weekends. That shows you right there. It's not popular.
It's only Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we found out it closes at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
at least on Sunday, because we missed it.
I think all 3 days closes at 5.
Really, because we missed it one day, but yeah, we just spent a few minutes in there. We didn't spend a whole lot of time. Now, we're not into gardening, so they do have some gardening seminars, and we're just not gardening people, so we didn't attend any of those. But merchandise-wise, we're going to do a haul video, so that'll be coming out later. But they did have some really cute stuff this year. And I picked up a new magic band, which I'll show in the haul video, which is forthcoming, and a couple other things. So we'll show those. I got a pen, some other stuff, so we'll show that in our haul. But onto the food.
Let's jump in.
So we got our passport. If you've never been to Flower and Garden, be sure you pick up a passport. These are at the front of the park, and also get the guide map because it actually marks the locations of the booths typically. But this is super helpful. It lists every booth and all the food and drink items and marks whether they're vegetarian and whether they're gluten friendly. That's Disney's word. It basically means they're made without gluten, but because of the risk of cross-contamination in the booths, because the booths are really small, the kitchens, they don't guarantee it's 100% gluten-free, so they call it gluten-friendly. So we're going to try to do a quick pass, and if I'm able, I haven't even reviewed our footage from the trip because we just got back last weekend, but if I'm able, I will try to insert some film as we're talking of the actual food items that we're consuming, or talking about consuming. So we're going to start and just basically go through the festival book, so I apologize for looking down, but I'm going to glance at it as we go. So the first booth was Urban Farm Eats, and we actually went here a lot. I think we enjoyed the offerings from the booth, and for me, there were a couple of good options this year. I had the watermelon salad, which is a return. It's so good. It's so fresh. All the flavors work really well. The watermelon with the cheese, with the reduced balsamic, it's just all perfect together. Arugula, I've made this at home. We liked it so much. I got that at least twice this year. It's really good. I also got the seared pork tenderloin. It's not marked gluten-friendly, but I talked to the chef and they said the only thing that's got gluten in it is the mushroom ragu, so I had them leave that off. Unfortunately, it ended up being pretty dry, and it's probably because I left the ragu off, so I'm not saying it's their fault. But it's not something I got again, nor would I necessarily recommend it without the ragu. With the ragu, it may have been fantastic. I just can't speak to it.
And I got the crabless, is it crab cake or just crabless cake?
Crabless cake.
Actually, I think when I ordered it, I said crabless crab cake. I don't know.
I'm sure they knew what it was.
Actually, the first time I had this, I was kind of lukewarm on it, which I think we caught that on video. It's kind of like, because the crabless cake itself is warm, and the salad underneath was cold, and that was kind of weird to me. But then I went back another day and had it, and I was like, wow, this is really good. I actually enjoyed it.
Well, you liked it enough to get it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was more. I was just hungry, and we were at that booth the next day. So.
And that is a vegetarian dish, despite the name. There's no crab in it.
No idea what was in it, but it tasted really good.
And it had a sort of sauce on top that had Old Bay seasoning in it. So I think that's what gives you that, evokes that sensation of like you're having seafood. So for someone who eats both seafood and is a vegetarian, sort of other than that, and you liked it, I think that speaks pretty highly to it.
Yeah.
And then you also got a drink here.
Right, the Wildflower Pale Ale. And that was pretty good. That was actually, that was good. I was thinking about the rose raspberry one. But yeah, that Wildflower one, that was pretty good. I would get that again. You would
get that again. So that's it for us for Urban Farm Eats. We skipped the Pineapple Promenade. The only thing that's vegetarian there is the pineapple soft serve, which that's Dole Whip. So we can get that anytime. And there's nothing gluten-friendly at all there. So on to the berry basket. That was a new booth this year, and you want to talk about what you got?
What did I get there?
The drinks.
So that's the raspberry. Yeah, the raspberry.
It's called Founders
Pure Raspberry Ale. That's kind of sweet. That's actually really sweet. I think I wouldn't get that again.
And then you also got the green tea berry mint julep.
Yeah, that's.
Which was an alcohol. That is an alcoholic. They had a non-alcoholic version as well.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't recommend that.
Too sweet, or just didn't like the flavors?
I just didn't like the flavors.
Yeah. And La Isla Fresca, you got?
I got the conch salad, which was pretty good. The conch though was like these little crumbles. I don't know if that's naturally how they serve conch salad. You know, it's like little crumbles. I was expecting chunks of meat.
Yeah. I've had various preparations of conch when I was in Jamaica. My uncle used to live in Jamaica, so I went there a couple of times for extended stays. And this was actually almost ground up, like smaller than ground beef, like really small.
Salad overall was fresh tasting. Yeah, I would recommend it.
And it's at least something different. And you love the avocado. It had huge chunks of avocado. I remember you talking about that. I think that's it for that one. There was nothing gluten-friendly at this booth. However, at least a couple of the items, including that salad that Brian had, most likely were. But when I went up, they didn't have a chef there that could answer the question, and I didn't want to. They were happy to page someone for me. I just didn't want to wait at that time, so I never did, because they have that conch salad as well as the shrimp skewer. I think both of those were probably gluten-friendly, but I would not take my chances without talking to a chef. Jardín de Fiestas, the only thing that either of us got here was the hibiscus margarita. I got that because I was hoping it would be like the hibiscus margarita that's served at La Cava. It was not. It was not good at all. It wasn't a toss. I was able to drink it, but I didn't really enjoy it, and it was expensive. You get tiny cup with, it's like $10.75 or I don't know. It's over $10. So. Next one's Lotus House, and the only thing we got was the Kung Fu Punch. That's a tradition. We have to get that at least once every festival. They have it at Food and Wine and Flower and Garden, and it's really good. They seem to keep mixing it up a little, because this year it says it has vodka and triple sec, and I know for a fact it used to have like 2 kinds of rum, so they seem to mix it up a little bit. I actually liked it really this year a lot. I think the vodka and triple sec was nice. Next one is the German kiosk. Do you know how to say that?
The Bauer Market?
Yes.
Yeah, so I didn't get anything here. I meant to get one of the potato pancakes. I just never got around to it.
I got the currywurst with paprika chips, and I think I liked it better than the previous time I tried it. It still had a lot of the currywurst ketchup on it, and I'm not a big ketchup person, but it was good. It wasn't a repeat, but it was good. I would try it, once for sure.
And they would probably serve it without the ketchup. That's one thing we did this time at this festival, which I don't think we've ever done at the other festivals, is we actually asked to customize a lot of the dishes. Yeah. And most of the time they were okay with it.
Pretty okay. Yeah. And
so if you see something that they're putting some kind of sauce you don't want, just ask and see if they'll do it. Most likely they will.
Yeah, and I'll try to point those out as we get to them. We haven't come across them yet. And you said you didn't get any drinks there this year in Germany. The Primavera Kitchen, the only thing I got there was the frozen Italian margarita. I've had it in the past. It's made with limoncello and tequila, and it's actually pretty tasty and not overly sweet. It's also not very strong. So, you know, that can be good, that can be bad, but I like it. It's refreshing when it's hot out.
I didn't get anything there.
No.
I don't think there was anything vegetarian, right? That was it. Yeah, nothing vegetarian except for the dessert.
And nothing gluten-friendly either.
I don't think we got any desserts at all at the festival.
I got we're coming to that. I got one.
Okay.
The Smokehouse Barbecue and Brews, that's in America. I got a couple of items here. I got the smoked pork ribs with black bean and corn salad. That is gluten-friendly as is and was good. I think I had it twice. I think once it was really good and another time it was a little dry. They're sort of hit or miss with the ribs. I also got the beef brisket burnt ends hash. This is one that I modified. I found out actually, I think last year, that if you leave off the white cheddar fondue, it is indeed made without gluten. The gluten is in the fondue. So I had that without the white cheddar fondue and without the pickled jalapenos because I'm a wimp, I can't handle spicy things, and it was very good. It was very tasty. It's a little bland without those, which, I mean, it makes sense. That's where the flavor's coming from, but the meat's cooked well. I like it.
So no food here for me. I did have the beer flight, and then we're going to give this the official Peas and Carrots worst beer flight ever at the festival.
Ooh.
I think at any festival. It had 3 beers in it, which I didn't try one of them because it had bacon, a bacon stout, which that was a rollover from last year. The other one is like super nasty, a Three Daughters Phantasma Spicy DIPA DIPA. I don't know what a DIPA is, but wow, I took one sip off camera. I was like, ugh. And so, of course, Carmen had to capture it, so I took one more sip just so she can capture the reaction. And that was an immediate toss. And then the Orange Blossom, that was all right, just didn't have much taste to it. So that's kind of a letdown for the American booth.
Yeah, because usually you like their flights okay. Yeah. So on to Hanami. This is in Japan.
Yeah, so Carmen did not get anything here. And this, I love this booth. I got the tuna poke, and it's interesting, they pronounce it there. I noticed all the employees or cast members, poke, right? Yeah, I would say.
Well, that's the alternate proper pronunciation.
It's just, I find it interesting how different people say it. I got that twice actually. It's really good, and they don't serve it on seaweed, which I thought was kind of curious because I think that's big for Japanese foods, the seaweeds. They just served it on top of iceberg lettuce, which I thought was kind of weird. It had some kind of sauce on it. It was really good though. I had it twice, and then I had the 2 sakes. The Amabuki and the Ozeki sake. The Ozeki was really good. Had that rubbing alcohol aftertaste. It was just really nice, smooth sake. The other one really had some kind of strange aftertaste to it. I didn't like it.
Also, while we're talking pronunciation, because neither of us are Japanese experts, I will put a link to probably a Disney food blog to where she lists all these food items. So that way, if you want to look these up, feel free. It's if we're pronouncing them wrong. Taste of Marrakesh was a skip for both of us.
I meant to get the falafel, but no. Every time we walked by, I was like, should I get it? No, next.
I don't know why, but it's not listed as vegetarian, which is curious.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, because usually falafel is vegetarian, and it probably is. It's the same way some of these things definitely look gluten-free, but they weren't, or gluten-friendly, but they weren't marked that way. Florida Fresh.
Florida Fresh. Did I have any food there?
We both did. We both had the shrimp and stone ground grits. So Brian had it first, and I actually ordered it for him, and I asked them to leave the sausage off because that's the only thing that's not pescatarian friendly. And that time they actually took his shrimp straight off the grill, so it wasn't in the sauce, with the sausage. And he said, this has no heat at all. And I had gotten it last year and it lit me up, which again, I've mentioned I don't like spicy. So since he told me that's where the heat came from, was the sauce that the sausage, I know andouille's got some heat itself, but I think it's more the sauce that's spicy. I ended up getting it the same way. I don't have anything against sausage, but I can't handle the spicy food. And it was really good without the sausage.
So basically, it was just shrimp and grits, and the grits were prepared very well because I'm not a grit person and I liked it. But it's hit or miss if they're going to cook them off. If you ask for it without the sausage, it's hit or miss if they're going to cook it straight off the grill, or Carmen got it and they dip the shrimps out of the sauce. So if you're a pescatarian, you might get...
You want to specify that you don't want it out of the meat sauce. When I ordered for him, I specifically told them he was a vegetarian and did not want, or pescatarian, did not want the sausage. So I think that's why they did it straight off the grill. When I ordered it, I didn't say that because I'm not. I don't care, if it comes out. Just keep that in mind when you're ordering. And also,
this had
I wanted to mention it has the sweet corn, tomatoes, and cilantro. That's actually a separate sauce. So they did actually put that on, and that added some nice flavor to it.
So at the Florida Fresh booth, Peas and Carrots gives this booth the official Best Beer Flight of the festival award, which had 3 beers, and of course that's I don't think we mentioned that they're carrying that tradition of the beer flights of 3 beers. Oh, also I'm gonna mention if you just ordered the single beers, they're back to the smaller size.
Tiny is what I would
Whereas
call
the
that.
last Flower and Garden Festival from last year, it was the big size. If you order a single beer, you got the bigger size, which was better value. So now they're going back to the small size. Anyway, so the beer flight had the Tampa Bay Brewing Company Quat Seasonal Fruit Ale, which was good. They're all good. And then the Barley Mow Brewing Company and Mirth and Merriment Golden Ale, which that had a very unique taste to it. I like that.
Really?
And then the Florida Beer Company Feast of Flowers,
which he loves.
Yeah, that's a good beer.
That's a return.
Yeah. So I think that's all we had there. We didn't get any of those other cocktails or anything. Yeah.
No, but the watermelon slushies seem popular. I saw a lot of people getting those. So I probably should have tried it. I'm not a gin person, so that's why I didn't try that one, but a lot of people seem to like that.
All right, next up is France.
Fleur de Lis.
Onion tart. Woo,
had that twice. Loved that. I mean, he loved it. And every time he had it, he's like, this is so good. Well, it's funny.
I love onion, and it was just full of onion flavor.
I just heard, our friend John from the WDW Main Street podcast, I just heard him on their podcast saying that was his wife's favorite item from the whole festival was that onion tart.
We'll say it's slightly greasy, but...
And that's vegetarian.
Yeah. I think that's the only thing we had there. No.
Right, the only gluten-friendly thing is the macaron, and I had it last year and it was too sweet for my taste. I'm not saying it's bad, it's good, but it's just really sweet. Did you have a beverage?
No, nothing else.
Okay, no beverage. Cider House. I stopped here and got the freshly baked lemon scone with cream fresh and mixed berries. I had this last year, so I wanted to have it again. It is gluten friendly. It's made with cup for cup flour, or at least it was last year. I assume it's the same this year. And it's really good and not very sweet, especially if you don't use I think they put a lot of sugar in the cream fresh, but if you just eat the scone and the berries with a tiny bit of the cream, it's very good and not super sweet.
Now, how does that scone compare to the scone from the brunch at California Grill? Did you have that scone there?
I did. I would say it's better.
This one at the festival is better.
The Flower and Garden one is better. I didn't really care for that one at the California Grill.
So I had the house-made potato and cheddar cheese biscuit with smoked salmon tartare. Really good.
You love that one every year.
Yeah, I have to get it at least once. I think last year I got it twice. This year I only got it once. I think the difference this year, it was actually a full biscuit. Last year it was just half a biscuit. But otherwise, yeah, it was good. And then I had the cider flight. I think it's all the same ciders. No, I think the blood orange one is different. No, actually, are they all different? Mackenzie's black cherry.
That one's a repeat.
That's all right. Yeah, the Florida Beer Company Caribe blood orange tropical hard cider. That was good. And the strawberry cider, that was too sweet for me.
On to Northern Bloom. So this is another new booth this year, and we spent a lot of time here.
So this has Peas and Carrots' favorite fruit, I think?
Favorite fruit of the festival, yep. It had the seared scallops. And
wow, can't say much about that one.
So this is another one Brian was able to modify. It had bacon on it. If it was just a bacon in a sauce, like, bacon bits kind of in a sauce.
Was it in a sauce? Or
it wasn't a sauce. Okay. And they would throw it, a very small amount of sauce, but they would throw that on at the end, so it was really easy for them. Like, it wasn't like they were dipping the scallops out of the sauce. So in this case, it was very easy for him to have them leave that off. What I loved about it was it came with French green beans and butter potatoes. And so, oh, there's what it's called. It's called a brown butter vinaigrette. That's the sauce that the bacon is in.
The sides are really good.
The sides were fantastic. To me, the green beans were cooked perfectly because they were a bit crunchy, like they were blanched, and that went really well. If they had been soggy, I think that would not have been good. And it was those tiny little fingerling potatoes.
And they were cooked very well.
Yeah, they were perfect.
And the scallops, of course, were cooked very well.
I actually enjoyed it every time we got it, and that tells you that they're being really consistent. A lot of times when we get things multiple times, one time it's good, next time it's not so good.
I think I had it 3 times, maybe Carmen 4. Yeah, because I think you got one time and I didn't, because I got something else.
Yeah.
It's good.
And that was it for food.
And then they had the Unibrew flight, which I had that a couple times. It was good, but the problem was we're so close. Every time we would get our food there, we'd find a table, and then the Le Fin was right there in arm's reach. So
that's made by the same company, Unibrew.
So I had to, sometimes just pass that up and go get a Le Fin.
Yeah. So you like Le Fin better than these 3?
I do. I think of the flight, the F-Mir White Ale is my favorite.
Okay. So that's it for the food. Like I said, I'll try to put a link in the show notes to a website that has a list of all the food items so you can check those out. You can also go back and check our preview where we did sort of a detailed play-by-play of, what we were planning to try. Yeah. I'll put a link to that as well, I think over there.
Just like our predictions, we predicted we weren't going to have any desserts, and we only
had the one.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it seems like this festival we didn't have much food at all. I would say compared to last year's Flower and Garden, we didn't have that much food.
When we kept repeating things we liked, for me at least, I think this is true for you too, sort of for a pescatarian, but for me there was very little gluten, marked gluten-friendly this year. I think it's the least ever. So I just kept repeating things over and over, and after a while you're like, I'd rather just go get food somewhere else, because we were there for 8 full days. So, if you're there for that long, if you're only there a few days, you wouldn't repeat, but as long as we're there, But I'd say for me, the flowers are just as spectacular as previous years. But for the food this year, I think I was a little disappointed. I'm not saying it was bad. What I had was mostly good. I just felt like the selection for gluten-friendly was down, and I also felt like his selection was less for vegetarian and pescatarian.
It'd be interesting to actually go back and compare.
Yeah, it would be interesting. Just felt like it maybe because we're coming off Food and Wine, because Food and Wine always has a lot more. They have a lot more food, so they have more gluten and more vegetarian. But I would say that this wasn't the festival's best year for us. Right. But I'm not trying to be a downer. I still think it was fun. I still had a good time. I'm still glad we went. I just don't feel like this was like a top year for the Flower and Garden Festival, for the food. For the flowers, just as beautiful as ever. And I was worried because I had heard that in early March, the flowers aren't in full bloom. They were totally in full bloom. It looked perfect to me. Everything looked gorgeous. So anyway, if you're going, I hope you have a great time. And if you can't make it this year, this is still relevant because each year they bring a lot of the same food back. Like all the things I had in America and the item I had in Germany and the onion tart, all those are repeats. The scones are repeat. So it's still relevant even if you're planning for next year. So hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful. If you like it, we appreciate subscriptions, likes, shares, and leave us a comment. What was your favorite item if you've been to the food festival? Leave that in the comments below.
What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, exactly. If you're going, let us know what you're looking forward to. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.